this is my channel, The Good Guys. Guys, today we have something a little bit different. It was in Washington, D.C. This is the nation's capital, okay? And the title reads, and this is from YouTube, "Man armed with a knife kills carjacking suspect. Police, NBC4 Washington." And this happened 12 days ago, okay? I do want to cover this because it is a little bit different because we're not using a firearm here. We're using a knife. But it is still a weapon. Before we get into today's story, please, guys, if you could leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Remember, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and I would appreciate you guys if you would help me get there, and we can all get there together. Hit me on Minds, hit me on Twitter, and you guys can even find me on Truth Social. So let us begin with this story.
Only on 4 tonight, we have some dramatic new video that shows a man with a knife violently stopping a carjacking here in D.C. The raw footage is too graphic for television, so we have frozen the video when it gets too disturbing. It all began with a terrifying minute-long struggle between a carjacker and a woman inside her car at a gas station in Northeast. It ended when another man lunged in with a knife. News 4's Paul Wagner takes us through this wild confrontation.
Just before 11 Thursday morning, a woman driving a white sedan pulls into the BP station on Kenilworth Avenue and goes inside. When she comes back out, she gasses up her car and then gets behind the wheel. She's sitting there for a couple of minutes before the man wearing a ball cap and a backpack pulls a baton and tries to get her out of the car. We've timed the video. For the next minute and 12 seconds, the two fight inside the car. Another man who was getting his car serviced sees what's going on and runs over. You can see him standing to the side, kind of hovering, as if he's waiting to intervene before he makes his move. We've frozen the video here as the suspected carjacker is stabbed repeatedly.
So let me stop it there in the act, right? Guys, this would have been a perfect case for a firearm. A perfect case for a firearm. And in your vehicle, I always, whenever I'm driving, I take my firearm from my hip, I put it somewhere in the dash. I really should have some kind of clip that I can fasten it to the vehicle so I can pull it for quick draw. And I've been looking into some solutions, and I think I do have something. But anyway, can you imagine that you are fighting with an individual for a minute? You may run out of gas. And what I mean by gas, meaning you may get physically tired. And this guy just came and opened the car door and tried to take the vehicle. I think he does end up taking the vehicle, but we'll see. But guys, what a perfect case for a firearm. What you're going to see, though, even though they blurred it and they've already given it away, that this man stabbed this carjacker repeatedly. What if he had his firearm? Yes, of course, he would have had to aim. He would have to make sure he doesn't hit the woman. But what about the woman? What if she had her firearm, like I previously said? But see, these people live in Washington, D.C., where it is very hard for the average person to get a firearm. It's even hard for the person who got means. Trust me, I know, okay? It is very hard to get a firearm in Washington, D.C. and carry it. Although, and what is even more startling, guys, is that Washington, D.C. southeast is usually the worst part of DC, but it ever so creeps into northeast. It ever creeps into Arlington. It creeps into Woodbridge, Manassas, all parts of Virginia. It's terrible. And this is why in those states, in Virginia, in that state, Virginia, luckily, they have the right to they can get a concealed permit. It's not constitutional carry yet. Hopefully, it will be. Okay, but all this stems here. If you only had a gun, let not my last thoughts be, if I only had my gun. That is not the words you want to be saying over and over and over in your head when you are in a fight for your life. Let's move on.
Still, he drives off as the victim, the woman, rolls out of the car and falls to the ground. As others at the station come to the victim's aid, the suspect only makes it a little over a block before he crashes into another sedan and a pickup. Keith Leonard was in the pickup and watched as the suspect got out of the car bleeding and ran.
So I don't know what happened. Once that guy ran that way, I don't know what happened. Yeah. Like, I wasn't even focused on him. I was more focused on the shock and all. Just, what happened and the damage.
The suspect, who's been identified as 29-year-old Devon Jones, collapsed on Eastern Avenue just a few feet away and was pronounced dead at the scene. News 4 has so far been unable to reach the victim of the carjacking. Her injuries are unknown. The manager of the BP says D.C. police towed the car of the man who did the stabbing. It's the second car in the video with its hood up. D.C. police say they have a pretty good idea on the identity of the man who did the stabbing, but at this point, homicide investigators are consulting with the U.S. Attorney's Office to determine if charges should be forthcoming or not.
And this is the kicker. This man stepped in to stop this individual. He should be considered the Good Samaritan. He should be, for all intents and counts, he should be the good guy. But this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to tell you, it's always 50-50 in my mind. Do I intervene? Do I let it go? Right? Hopefully, if anything ever happens to your family, that person that's weighing the 50-50, you want him to be here and intervene on the behalf of your family, right? You want him to. Who knows that woman there? People who have seen this, her family, are probably saying, thank God this man intervened. But then think about it on your end. If you're faced with it, you might be, nah, I'm not getting involved. And it's terrible. And you know the reason why you're not getting involved? It's because of this. Because of this. This man's gotten involved and they're getting ready to put charges on him. They are looking into putting in charges. Instead, they have the video. They see someone who is doing a carjacking. He is getting ready, trying to take this physically from this woman. And this man comes in and stops it. And man, what if, and I tell you what, if he had a gun, it would have been over. It would have been over for him. He would have first got charged for that, and they would have said, we don't care what you did. You could have saved Jesus. It wouldn't have mattered. You going to jail, Papa. And this is part of the reason, guys. I mean, when you live in places like this, you know, how can you function? You know, these places are honestly rat-infested hellholes, and no one should live there. It's just a tragedy. Every time I see people, good people even they live in a bad neighborhood, they're trying to do their business, they don't mess with anybody, but eventually these jokers will come for you. And then what do? Very sad, guys. I don't like what happened here. I don't like this at the very end. This is a bad ending. This is a very bad ending to hear this. Who knows what may happen to him? Maybe they may drop the charges, but just to suggest it is horrible. And especially for somebody who stepped in, a good guy, a good Samaritan. We say all the time, good guys should have guns. Good guys should always carry guns, because if the good men do nothing, there won't be any good guys. But after seeing this, how many good guys are saying, nope, I'm not getting involved? It's a sad case, ladies and gentlemen. As God is my witness. But guys, what do you guys think? Let me know. But I will say it again. Good guys have guns. And there will be a point where you may have to decide whether to break the law. I can't tell you to do that, okay? But it may come to a point in our country where they may just say, you know what, guns are illegal 100%. Nobody should have them, period. And then what do you do then? Because you know for a fact the criminals will not obey that. So, I'll say it one more time. Good guys have guns. Good guys should always have guns under any circumstances and all circumstances. Because if good men do nothing, there will be no good guys.